We'll call the meeting doors, Wicomico County Council Legislative Session 2023-15 for August 1st, 2023. Those that like to stand and join us in the Lord's Prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, please do.
Our Father, who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God save you. I'd like to recognize Megan Oughton, Salisbury City Council. Glad to have you here tonight. Entertain a motion from council to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Consent agenda has been approved. This time we have a proclamation. We have two proclamations to read. The first proclamation is for the recognition of the month of August as Academic Preparation Awareness. And we have Mr. Josh Hastings here. And Monica Brooks, president of the NAACP, is the recipient. Good to have you, Monica. Good to see you. Yeah.
How's everybody doing tonight?
All right.
Good. So this proclamation is Academic Preparation Month, whereas earning a diploma from high school is one of the most cherished things a person can experience in their life, and one of the greatest achievements. Whereas attending school daily and having the support of parents to achieve this goal is the best approach to reduce the dropout rates in our school system and to show children that they are truly cared about and supported. Whereas encouraging students to remain in school, to learn, and to help students understand the importance of following directions and honoring rules as life skills, and mentoring students to learn the value of self-respect and respect for others is essential to their lives. Whereas the clearest path for a child to become a productive and responsible citizen is the support and encouragement to stay in school. By receiving a high school diploma, the foundation to build a productive life may be realized by the students, and we will see their dreams come true. So now, therefore, the Wicomico County Council and the County Executive hereby proclaim that August 2023 is Academic Preparation Month and encourage all citizens and parents to inspire the children to be successful citizens. So, signed this day, August 1st, 2023, the County Executive and all members of the County Council. So,
Thank you.
Before I get a picture, and I do want to get some comments, we have with us, of course, Monica Brooks, NAACP. You want to say a couple words?
Sure. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to stand before you for something so important. Academic Preparedness Month. You think about it as being something so narrow, but yet it's so grave. It's so not grave, so huge. Meaning that it's a holistic approach that allows our students to get to this place where they can graduate, where they can thrive in our communities. So we're, as NAACP, not only do we come alongside of the schools to assist them in their programming, being in the community and being advocates for our children, coming alongside and helping parents, but also doing anything that we can to help pave the way for greatness, because all of our students deserve the opportunity to be whatever they want to be, to have every opportunity to be treated equally and fairly, to have access to anything available to anyone else, not based on the color of your skin or your academics, or your how much money your family has or doesn't have, whether your parents completed school or not. We're here to make a difference. So we are looking forward to coming alongside anyone else that wants to be an asset to our kids. And certainly we're looking forward to our county getting to that wonderful measure of mark beyond maintenance of effort in the amount that we give as well. So we thank you so much for this opportunity, and anything that we can ever do to assist you in your different endeavors to help our kids, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Next proclamation we have is to recognize the month of August as Black Philanthropy Month. And we have the A-listers here tonight. We have Sharon Morris here, Sonia Whited, and Monica, you're still here, right? And Monica, yes. I'm sorry, Lori Carter. Sorry, Lori Carter, co-founders of the, yeah. And Lori Carter, co-founders of the Giving Circle of, you have to tell me what it is. It's BECF. I know it's an acronym, I'm not.
As always, it's great to give these proclamations for positive things, especially in the Black community. The proclamation says, whereas Dr. Jacqueline Bouvier Copeland of Pan-African Women's Philanthropy Network and the WISE Fund, Women Investing to Save the Earth, established the month of August as the Black Philanthropy Month in 2011 with recognition by the United Nations as part of its 2011 Declaration of International Decade for People of African Descent. And whereas Black Philanthropy Month is an annual celebration of African descent given in all its forms that include time, talent, treasure, and experience, the month-long observance invites all people, and in particular those of African ancestry, to celebrate August and beyond to promote the power of giving to transform lives that will ultimately sustain Black communities. And whereas Black communities have both historical and traditional vested reasons to celebrate their rich shared traditions of giving, self-help, and innovation, a legacy of philanthropy merits a concerted effort to spotlight good works, educate future generations, and inspire giving. And whereas the promotion that philanthropy is instrumental to improve social, educational, economic, and health outcomes in Black communities is critical, we laud the visionary and co-founders of the Black Excellent Community Fund, the Community Foundation's newest giving circle, for creating a pathway to celebrate Black Philanthropy Month and to bring its awareness to further our community's nonprofit and charitable interests. Now therefore be it resolved that all people of Wicomico County are encouraged to appreciate and observe August as Black Philanthropy Month, to celebrate and encourage the culture, richness, and philanthropic spirit of our community, and to recognize the vital role journalism plays in ensuring a healthy, safe, and prosperous community in which to live, work, and flourish. It is signed by our county executive and our county council president, representing the county council, John Cannon. Ladies, I want to present this to you. I'm going to sit down. Okay. Well, she wants to take a picture. All right, look. I think I can stand. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, Laura wants to.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not doing this right. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm holding it up.
There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I made it.
You made it.
All right. I just wanted to say thank you for the recognition of Black Philanthropy Month. This is our first year of giving out grants, so we've given out one set of grants in February for Black History Month. We are about to give out our second set of grants.
Oh, I made it.
And I also just want to take this time so you can go on with your meeting to acknowledge that we are a giving circle of the Community Foundation. So I wanted to acknowledge Erica Joseph taking pictures in the back there, president of the Community Foundation as well. I do have some information for you all, so you can just see, so you'll know what the acronym means. And thank you.
This time, we also have a very special introduction. We'd like to introduce to Wicomico County Lieutenant Sean Simmons and Captain Angel Simmons, who are now the new leaders of the Salvation Army. If you'd like, you can come to the podium, please.
So my other half is not here. He's with our children tonight. I'm Captain Angel Simmons, and we were so excited to come to Salisbury. We have been welcomed with open arms. We were blessed to be able to be a part of some great programs. So if you don't know what's going on at the Salvation Army, we have a wonderful thrift store that offers great things to the community. I went shopping with my kids, and I kept hearing people say, wow, they have those things. So if you haven't gone there, it's a treat to go to that thrift store. And that thrift store supports our other programs, such as our senior program, which serves over 85 seniors every day. 5 days a week they can come there. We also have our social service ministry that is helping the community with utilities and rent and food assistance, over 500 food boxes a month. So all of those things are what we're doing at the Salvation Army, and we're ready to partner with our community, find ways that we can fill gaps together in our facilities that we have. So.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Mitchell. How are you?
I'm all right. This is Legislative Bill 2023-10, an act to amend Chapter 225 of the Wicomico County Code, titled Zoning, Section 225-12, entitled Lots Divided by Zoning District Boundary Lines, to allow use in a zoning district that covers the majority of the land of a parcel to extend over the entire parcel. And Mr. Gary Pusey is here from planning if you have questions.
All right.
This is a public hearing.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mitchell. This time, we open the floor for public hearing on legislative bill number 2023-10. If you have any comments you'd like to make in reference to this legislative bill, come to the podium. Please state your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. Keep in mind, we do have a 3-minute limit. That concludes the public hearing on legislative bill number 2023-10. Entertain a motion from council to approve legislative bill 2023-10.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye, starting with Councilman Shields.
Aye.
Councilman Merritt.
Aye.
Vice President Baker. Aye. Okay, Pat. Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
Councilman Hastings.
Aye.
Councilman Wynn.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Legislative bill 2023-10 passes unanimously.
And this is another public hearing. This is Legislative Bill 2023-11, an act to amend Exhibit B, Exhibit C, and Exhibit F for the annual budget and appropriation bill, which was part of Legislative Bill number 2023-04. And I'd point out, I believe at one point it said it was adopted June the 9th, was actually adopted June the 6th, 2023. That should be amended when the council takes it up. To remove the salaries for the Assistant Director of Administration position, the Director of Public Works position, and the Deputy Director of Public Works position. This is a public hearing.
Thank you, Andy.
Could we get a little further explanation, Mrs. Hurley? I know there was some Facebook post out there that said that they were eliminating salaries. We're not eliminating salaries. We're basically moving some salaries.
Yes, so the intent of this legislation is to temporarily move the funds into our use of prior year fund balance. Again, this is a temporary move until the positions can be filled properly. And at that time, council can certainly then authorize the funds to be transferred back to those departments when you guys are ready to proceed with that. But this, again, is a temporary move. And I'll also point out that the best practice that was mentioned on the GFOA website is that government should be reviewing their salary and wage budgets throughout the entire year, not just when the budget is being prepared, and then you should be making adjustments as needed.
Now, if we were to eliminate the salaries, that money would basically go back to the citizens, right? As far as lowering taxes, if this money was put back completely. But that was an elimination of those salaries, that money was not in the budget at all, right?
Oh, if it wasn't in the budget at all?
Correct.
That is correct.
So they're not being eliminated.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hurley. At this time, we open the floor for a public hearing on legislative bill number 2023-11. Those who would like to make any public comments in reference to legislative bill 2023-11, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns. Keep in mind, please, we do have a 3-minute time limit.
Julie Giordano, County Executive. I first want to share my disappointment in this council, as I personally sent all of you an email yesterday as a last effort to try to reach a resolution without litigation. But unfortunately, not one of you responded. You didn't even tell me that you got the email. The legislation that you are getting ready to pass is not for the betterment of Wicomico County or its citizens. It is a vengeful, spiteful act to once again try to hurt the executive office, which is what you have done for the past 7 months. Defunding positions, whether it's going back to the county, is terrible in optics, especially when 2 of the positions are currently filled. It's a form of termination, which this council does not have the authority to do. Termination is a sole function of the executive branch, except for those positions that fall under the county council, such as Ms. Hurley's position. I am asking you to table this bill this evening, especially because we plan to interview for Public Works Director next week due to recent resumes that have just come in. Thank you.
Dave Cooper, Wicomico County resident. I would like to start this off saying that, first off, that this is my opinion to prevent a third threat of litigation by a member of this council. It's very concerning to me that this county, that as a citizen of this county, that the president and other members of this council have gone around and bragged that the council has approved 33 out of 35 appointments from the executive. If we break it down, you just reappointed numerous positions of people who were already employed here, approved people to serve on volunteer boards, whom of which you never even met, and approved people for vacant positions. If we really break it down, what you have voted down, it's more than 2 of the 35 positions. In her 7 months in office, you've turned down her idea for public safety advisor. You've turned down the idea that a person would not have to have a bachelor's degree, even though 5 of the 7 of you don't have one. You took away her legislative aid position. You took away her public information officer, even though it's listed in the charter numerous times that she is to have one. So I hope you all have actually read the charter better than the budget that you passed earlier this year. You allowed public embarrassment of Dan Cox before you voted him down as special counsel, even though the majority of this county voted for him in both primary and general elections to be our governor. So I would think it is safe to say the majority of this county actually wanted him there, unlike the few that spoke that day against him. You attempted to turn down Matt Leitzel as the director of admin, even though Julie did follow the process you told her to by adverting the position and making sure she didn't hire any of her friends. You questioned her contract with Wayne Stroudsburg and Paul Ellington. Just last meeting, you turned down her ability to have a non-conflicted attorney. You removed $500,000 from her budget for schools, which was desperately needed because within the last year, this council has removed over $15 million in the Board of Education budget, which, by the way, some of the members of this current council were actually part of that. And in fact, I believe one of you was actually the president. What do all of these things have in common? They were all people or things she knew would help her office be successful. So the fact that you sit up here and say that that this is not personal is absolutely ludicrous. How can it not be personal? It's like you're refusing her the tools she feels she needs to be successful. I ask you why. Do you not want the executive to be successful? The county elected her to do a job and that job she campaigned for, and the majority of this council is just holding her back. All of you really need to sit back and think about what you're doing tonight, especially with this bill. This is absolutely crazy that you're going to not eliminate. You're going to defund positions. We keep hearing all this stuff in federal about defunding this and defunding that. This council shouldn't be talking about defunding anything.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Paula Donalds, both city and county resident. Shame on all of you, almost all of you. Work with that lady. Work with her. Mr. Holloway, Mr. Cannon, Shane Baker, Jeff Merritt, and Ms. Shaney Shields. Work with that lady. Thank you, James, for sticking up for her.
Thank you, Ms. Donald.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, members of the council, Madam Executive. So I've been asked to speak to the council and the administration regarding changes to the budget and potential cuts of salaries. Forgive me if I don't have all the information. I'll share what I know with a few questions. Director of Public Works, Deputy Director of Public Works, Deputy Director of Administration. Why are these positions still not filled? Why are these positions being eliminated through changes to the budget? Who will assume the duties performed by these positions? Scratch the next one because I already answered my own question. How many positions overall in Wicomico County are vacant? Why? How can the council and/or the executive perform county business for the people of Wicomico County with vacant positions and the elimination of key department heads? The answer to that last question is they, all of you, cannot. The answers to the other questions are owed to the people of the county, those that supported you, those that helped you get elected. I implore you to focus on moving forward together to do the work of and for the benefit of all of the people of Wicomico County. My name's David Cook. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Courtney.
Good evening. My name is Barry Beecham, and the question that I have for every one of you members up here is, if those positions were important enough for the past county executives, then why aren't they important enough for the present county executive? Doesn't make any sense to me. You know, the tools that you guys work with, I've been up here and explained myself before. Jeff, you're in the printing business, printing press that, you know the printing press that you need. You know, Shane, you know the tools that you need to be a police officer. You know, John, you know the rental properties that you need to buy because you know what you need as far as the tool goes. James, you know as far as a tile saw, which tile saw to buy. What we're talking about here is we're talking about tools. That they're the only tools that she has. You're constantly sweeping her legs out from under her. And what really upsets me the most is that several of you are in new positions. Can you imagine being in her position and having the opposition from the people that are supposed to support her? That's the part that I don't understand here is that, you know, as a county, and as a citizen, we look at this, and me as a voter, I look at this and I question what your motives are. I don't understand. There's no way the number of people that she's put before you that they could all be bad. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm trying to grasp it. I'm trying to grasp why you guys continually vote against the position that she takes. You know, if they're wrong positions, time will tell. You know, time is going to prove us all right or it's going to prove us wrong. The question that I always look at is, what's the motive behind what you guys are doing? I don't understand it. I've been up here before. You know, I've spoken and said the exact same words that I just said tonight. But what I really would like for you to all really take a look at is, you know, this county is a nice county. I mean, we've got some really nice people. You know, if these positions were needed to be filled when the past county executives were in the position, then why would you think that because the experience that she has in this, she's new at this position, why would you think that she probably needs those even more so than the past county executives? And I just really wish you would really rethink refunding or defunding these positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beecham.
My name's Sean McKimmel, Wicomico County resident. I'm also the commission president of the town of Pittsfield. First thing I want to say is that I have a good working relationship with the county executive, and she supports our municipality and municipalities across this county. Without her goals and visions to inspire me to be a better leader in my position, it's helped me be a doer. She's a doer. Something I wish I could say for more people in this room. If this decision's made tonight to temporarily move funding for salaries and positions within her administration, to me it's nothing more than an obstructionist move based in an egotistical battle rooted in a desire for more power. The people of this county elected Julie Giordano to be the county executive to lead for a brighter future and to not go into the pitfalls this county's been in before I was even a resident of the state of Maryland. If this decision goes through tonight to temporarily suspend with maybe we can vote to move that funding back in, which to me, I've been doing this long enough, means that I can say no at any point in time. So essentially, it is stripping the money because based off of past actions, you're not going to reverse it. So you say what you will, that it's temporary, but I don't see that based off of past actions. The real losers in this are the taxpayers and the citizens of this county that voted for that woman to be in this position. That's who suffers. That's who's going to suffer in any potential legal battle, because whose money pays for it? It's not yours. Well, part of it is because you're taxpayers as well. But the taxpayers are the ones that are going to suffer. Actions have consequences. Actions today will have consequences years down the road. I wish people would be able to, see what these municipalities have done and actually attend meetings, and only a few I've actually seen in our meetings in the 3 to 4 years that I've been the commission president. I know the executive's been there, and I know Councilman Holloway and Wynn have been in our meetings as well. But there are great things going on in our municipalities, and maybe even though we're a municipality, you can learn something about leadership. As I said before, actions have consequences, and those consequences, when you're a politician, are felt at the ballot box. And the only thing I'm going to say is if that decision is made to strip the money from these salaries, the only shame is that we'll have to wait 3 years to deliver those consequences as citizens of this county.
All right, I'm Colby Phippen, Wicomico County resident, commissioner president for the town of Hebron. I don't know a lot of the drama, let's say, of what's going on here. I haven't researched it. I'm not savvy on all of it. But what I will say with the public works positions, your guys' public works, acting public works director, anybody in these positions in the past have been a huge asset to the town of Hebron. I'll speak for Hebron. We have 2 public works guys. They're not directors, they're just guys that are out getting their hands dirty. We don't have experts in the field per se that can help us with certain jobs. So we rely on the county to speak with for these things. And you guys they have been, the people in these positions, have been very influential for us. I mean, they're people who I can call, I can text, I can get assistance when we need to for different projects. Without these positions, I don't know where the town of Hebron will be. I think I can speak for other municipalities as well. We're small. We need help. Our residents need help with these items. Stripping the salaries from these positions is removing the positions. Makes absolutely no sense to me. If it's a personal battle between executive and you guys, something needs to be worked out better than this. So I'll leave that there, and I appreciate your guys' time.
Other public comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening. It's water, not whiskey. Don't I wish? Robert Taylor. In a few weeks, I'll be a 52-year come-here resident of the county, and within the last several years of that, for several years, I was the council's attorney, sitting where Mr. Mitchell is now sitting for many meetings. I think that the council is doing the right thing with this matter. As far as I can tell, and I do have some experience in this because if you'll recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Hurley, Mr. Culver died just about 3 years ago, and that ended what is essentially very close to the same situation that we have now with the appointment or quasi-appointment or whatever you care to call it of county officials by the county executive without going through the proper confirmation proceeding. That's what we have now. And until that gets resolved, I think the cutting of the salaries is the right move. Now, I want to elaborate a little bit further, maybe for Mr. Wynn's edification. Maryland law in local government, Mr. Wynn, does not represent what is called separation of powers. It does not exist. It's not me speaking. It's the Court of Appeals, now called the Maryland Supreme Court of Maryland. Case law on this. The reason for that is there is no separation of powers clause in the state constitution that pertains to local government. There is a clause that pertains to state government, but not to local government. There's a federal provision as well for separation of powers, as we know. So what we have here is a situation where I believe, I'm not totally certain on this, but I did look into this several years ago, where the county executive cannot sue the county council because of this separation of powers aspect. In other words, you can't sue yourself as an individual. A company can't sue itself. A government can't sue itself. The executive, what we call the executive branch, and the legislative branch are actually just divisions of the same county government. So I think we have a real situation here. I don't know how it's going to work out. I could be wrong. I'm not, the legal expert of the world on this. But it's a pretty common principle that you can't sue yourself. That's pretty well known. And so I think what you're doing is right. I imagine some of in the audience here will probably boo me, but I think you're making the right decision by going forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Other public comments?
Good evening, and thank you for your time, County Council. My name is Austin Whitehead. I'm the current board president of the Coastal Association of Realtors. I'm here today. I'm not privy to a lot of the things that have happened before, but it came to my attention that multiple positions, high-level positions, were being stripped of salaries. And one thing I specifically to the Board of Public Works. One thing I look to is the mission statement of the Board of Public Works, which is the enhancement of the quality of life for our citizens by striving to plan, construct, and maintain the county's public works and infrastructure. The Public Works Division oversees the Solid Waste Division, Roads Division, Engineering Division, and which many of the County Council are in knowledge of is the Water and Sewer Master Plan that we've all been trying to work on so closely going forward. I'm not privy to the inner workings of a lot of these things, but not putting people in place in these positions is going to put us back further than we already are. There's a lot of positions that aren't filled. We're behind on a lot of things, and we're really trying to work. Specifically, I have worked closely with the water and sewer issues that we've been having here, so I really would hate to see us get further and further behind. So I don't know what the answer is to all this here, but I do think all the parties need to come together and find a solution that's not going to negatively affect the people. So from the Real Estate Association standpoint, people come to the county, look to move here, and the biggest thing, public works, the infrastructure, and the future infrastructure. So holding us up any further is not something I would be in support of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Council, for taking a moment with all of us. I'm Captain Joe Lappin, and I've been here before. I'm not privy to everything that's going on inside the council and everything that's going on inside the inner workings of every department, but what I do see in this circumstance is the people being let down for what they voted for. So I'm not speaking necessarily to the council, in essence, because the council has an opportunity to consider what the people want. I'm speaking to the people. You guys voted Julie in, and we knew that when Julie came in, she was a fresh start. She was a person that may not have had experience, and that's okay. And I'm going to take that approach that experience also builds entrepreneurship in some things we just honored today. It supports community. Community is what we're here for. And I don't know if you guys in the infrastructure that you have really gone around your communities and seen how your infrastructure is failing. I've been working with Julie a little bit over in Bivalve and Nanticoke through some other chains and some people that are involved with the West Side community, and we have some major failures over there in our infrastructure. In our particular case, it's Parks and Rec. But that Parks and Rec also falls in Public Works. It also falls in areas where you guys administratively have the opportunity to make change. And in that change that you guys have the opportunity to make, you also have an opportunity to stand for the people on what we voted for. Now, I understand that we don't always get it perfect as a body. It's impossible to get it right as a body. But what we can get right is the opportunity to help each other. And I don't see you guys helping Julie. And I also will speak to you, Julie. I also know that you have to be in contact with your people. It's the people that are behind you that can actually come to the council and say what we're saying tonight. And if you're not involved with the people, then you're not involved with the council. I personally am here to prop up every one of you. And the reason that is because I take my life and I base it on a biblical scripture. And there's probably people that may say, hey, well, we don't necessarily accept that. I'm going to take one little scripture that I keep in my mind. It's Proverbs 11:14, where there is no guidance, the people fall. You guys are the guiding body for your administrator. You may not agree with what she's doing, or you may not agree with how she's doing it or the approach, and you may not agree as well. But one of the things that I know in this society today, and this might come off a little bit like a sermon, is we forget as human beings how to humble ourselves. And if you guys can't humble yourselves and work together, then our vote doesn't matter. And the conditions of everything that you're seeing in this county, from the four-wheelers riding down the highways all the way through to dock boards falling off, light poles not being fixed in areas of the community, but yet we want to go ahead and we want to build more parks, but we can't service our community. I'm going to say let's investigate this just a little bit more. Let's dig a little deeper. Let's prop up each other, because if we can prop Julie up, Julie can prop you up, and if she can prop you up, I can prop all of you up as a citizen. And my citizens of Wicomico County, I would expect that you would be able to prop up your administrators, and that's by your vote. Let's get it back to we the people, please.
How's How's everybody doing tonight? I'm Mayor Ben Jordan of the town of Delmar, also a Wicomico County resident. Just looking at things from a perspective of our town and our residents, I just want to say from Delmar, our consensus is we're not in support of this decision, more because it puts a lot of, like even to kind of piggyback off of Colby's comments, it puts a lot more strain on us as the smaller towns in the community to be able to make up that slack. And just from kind of the outside looking in, because I've sit on this side of the table and I also sit on this side, and I understand that this seems to be a very controversial topic. Not trying to speak to the drama of it, but just trying to speak from the municipalities that this affects, which is Delmar, Pittsville, Hebron, even Salisbury, Fruitland, Mardella. And I think as we're trying to plan as a community going forward regionally, decisions like this will affect all of us across the board, especially with the sewer project that I think we're all looking forward to, which we're hoping will eventually tie into Delmar if we can get everything going. But so just from us in Delmar, just want to speak out and say we support all of you, executive, councilmen, but this is something that we do not support. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other public comments?
Good evening, Monica Brooks, Wicomico County resident. I wasn't going to say anything, but there has been a lot of conflict, back and forth. But I will say this. I just took issue with one of the comments that was said about the embarrassment of Dan Cox. The fact of the matter is that that really has no relevance at all. If people came to speak, and our organization was one of them, and we spoke from the perspective of not what people would think we would typically speak from, but we spoke with some concrete evidence and things that we thought were not beneficial to the county. And so when you're in public office, when you're in the limelight, and I've seen it for myself, I got haters online too. You have to have a thick skin. It's just nothing personal. It's just business. So if we're going to be in these positions, then we just have to be able to take whatever, comes our way. It was one other thing that I wanted to say. It is not the council's job to support the county executive. It's not. It's the council's job to do the council's job and the county executive to do the county executive's job, and they're supposed to work for the benefit of all of Wicomico County. That's it. It's not for them to support or co-sign everything she does, nor is she going to support everything that they do. That's absolutely ridiculous. And if that is the case, then something's wrong with that system. We wouldn't have this division of system if it was meant to be that way. So sometimes there's going to be conflict. Sometimes there's going to be disagreement. Sometimes there's going to be error. But everything is not personal. Everything is not personal. I need people to hear that everything is not personal. So at the end of the day, whatever needs to be done, this is just an area I'm not getting into the weeds with. I have my passionate areas I get into the weeds with, like education and things like that. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to do what they are supposed to do, know their job, do their job, and think about the residents that put you in the positions that you're in.
Ms. Brooks? Any other public comments?
Good evening. My name is Katrina Purnell. I'm a resident of the county. I wasn't here to 2 previous meetings to know, but I've been listening and reading things in the newspaper and online. I have but one question. What does the county charter say that can and cannot be done that second one, is the county council following what the charter says? And if it is, I'm at a loss. I wish that we could use our time more valuable for things that are more important. We have crime in our streets. We have drug addictions. We have parents that need help. We have a problem with housing. I'm only asking for someone to explain that to me and let us follow the charter. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Good evening, Council. My name's Dallas Baker. So as far as I'm aware, I'm the last serving approved Public Works Director for the county. Thought long and hard about whether to say anything or not. So a lot of people ask me in the years since I've left, why'd you leave? And I can tell you a lot of that stemmed from, not from salaries, but from drama. This position that needs to be filled is one that maybe people don't know. You have to go up every 4 years and be reappointed. That's the way our charter says. So every 4 years you have to come up and make sure that you're balancing between the needs of the council and the needs of the executive. That's not a tough job to do, or that is a tough job to do. I can tell you, anybody that's looking for stability, it's a tough job. And, you know, no one wants to work in a situation where you're caught between this type of drama. And, you know, I applaud those who do. I mean, there are a lot of department heads up here who are, good Lord, I sympathize with you all. But, you know, someone brought up, what's the motive? And maybe this is just my opinion. I feel like the motive is that the council would like to see this county back to a council form of government, and that the objective is to stymie progress as much as possible until the citizens say, we've had enough, let's go back. I don't know if I'm right or not, but if that's the case, you know, when you look at, we've had these same issues under Executive Culver with our HR director, with our lawyer. Now we're having it here with the Public Works Director. If that's the case, if it's the council's push to get us back to that form of government, just put it on the ballot. Let's vote. Let's vote and say, okay, you know, years ago it was voted for the executive, whether that was for good or for bad. If that's the case, let's just put it on there. But the reality is, regardless of how that turns out, the problems that we're facing right now are still going to be there, whether they're on the executive plates or the council's plate. Problems like the landfill that's filling up. Problems like getting our roads and our bridges fixed and getting our ferries back in the water at the timely manner. So those problems are still going to be there for whoever's there, and they're going to be there for the citizens as well. So I really feel like we need a Public Works Director to guide and get these things moving. Some of these projects have languished for years now, and we need to see that progress made and moved forward. So I just hope that we'll keep the money there, get somebody in the position, and see the county succeed, because it's a great place to live. It really is. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Any other public comments? Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing on legislative bill number 2023-11. Entertain a motion from council to approve.
I would like to make a motion.
Entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to table this resolution. I think that we all need to sit down and rethink our decisions here. And I would like to ask, why are we doing this?
I believe there's a motion.
No. I made a motion to table this, and let's have a discussion.
You're seriously out of order. It's not a motion to table. If you want a motion to postpone, that's fine. It requires a second. That's what you want, right? You want to move this. Okay, so it's a motion to postpone, not to table. If it's a motion to table, we have to bring it. We have to discuss it within this same meeting.
Right.
So it's a motion to postpone.
A motion to
postpone.
Can we make a motion to postpone, and is there a second?
We need a second.
And this is how your council votes.
The motion does not, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. So the motion does not pass due to a lack of a second. Moving forward, entertain a motion from council to approve legislative bill number 2023-11.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, why are we doing this? Can we get an explanation on why we're removing the salaries? Matter of fact, is that even legal, Andrew?
Yes.
How is it legal?
Well, because it is.
He's giving you a legal opinion.
The council has
Does,
the ability to delete
What's the county
from the
attorney?
budget.
Let him speak.
Hold on, I have the
You
floor.
asked a question, let him speak.
What does the county attorney think about this?
I don't know.
Do we have his opinion, or are we just going off of yours?
You can ask him.
Mr. Wilbur's here.
Mr. Wilbur, if you have a legal opinion, I figured we might as well get all the legal opinions that we can before we go down this route.
I think Paul Wilbur, County Attorney. I think on this legislation, the biggest question I would have is when it's passed, it's going to, and becomes effective, it's going to amount to a termination of the deputy administrator. And is that under the charter, it's an executive, that's an executive power to terminate that position, but it will be effectively a termination. No salary, no position. That's the biggest legal question I have about this legislation.
Well, I guess the question, you were asked a question, but you're asking a question. So I guess the question is, what Mr. Nguyen asked, what we're doing, is it legal to do?
And I'm going to say that I can give an opinion on it, but I don't have that opinion written up for tonight.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
One of the things, if I might say, Mr. Wilbur just said this would, in effect, remove someone from a position. But then again, there has been no one confirmed for that position. So in effect, they're not there now.
Well, isn't that up
Should
to
not
the-
be.
Isn't that up to the judge to decide because of the interpretation of the charter problem? I mean, because the county attorney says that they're employed, and you're saying that they're not, so...
He didn't actually say they're employed, and we've been down this before. He has an opinion. He's given that to you in writing. I've given that opinion. I believe my predecessor gave you an opinion tonight.
Right.
So...
Excuse me, sir. Good.
You're aware of the issue concerning whether the person in that current position went through the proper submission at a legislative session and was confirmed. And you know that factually did not happen. That's how we got to this place.
I think that should be up to an arbitrator, and in my opinion, we're denying the executive to even have funding to take this to court, to get this figured out. How is that right? I mean, shouldn't we have abstained from voting to giving her money for a lawyer? Isn't that a conflict of interest?
Councilman Nguyen, the legislative bill that's on the floor right now is reference to the funding of the two positions.
Right,
Not
and
attorneys.
it's all tied together, though. I mean, this is all tied together.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, this is, I would like to say that I fully disapprove of this. I think we're going backwards. If we remove these positions, we're pushing our county backwards. We need public works. We need people in these positions. And if we go ahead and cut these funds, good luck trying to find someone to come to this county and work for us. She said she's got somebody coming in next week for an interview for Director of Public Works, and we're gonna cut the funding.
Josh?
That sounds great. I mean, are we gonna cut the funding? Is that what we're gonna do, or are we gonna try and, work this out together, instead of having a public embarrassment?
Josh?
Just a process question, I guess. First of all, I should say, so the current situation, obviously, this bill is about trying to remove the funding from the positions. The council has said they did not want to move forward. The council has the ability to say up or down, yes or no, on a particular individuals and particular employees. Whether they want to move forward, the council basically decided not to go forward with 2 individuals. So that's why we're in the current situation. The disagreement is whether or not they can continue to be funded. If the county, basically to be clear, I probably will never be clear on this, but I'll try to be clear, just so everyone's up to the same page and we're all on the same page. The situation is basically the county council feels like its only real option in order to make sure that we get, the only real option that we have is basically to decide to pull the funding temporarily until we can actually have different nominees put forward. So I guess the obvious question would be, if the county council tonight decided to move forward with this, then I guess, and let's say tomorrow the county executive comes forward with 2 new names for 2 new individuals for the council to consider, how long before we could make sure that the money was put back, that we are there to then move forward with the nominee and actually go forward with a regular process? So once again, if the council did move forward tonight to remove the funding, and tomorrow, if the county executive did put forward 2 new names for the council to consider, how long before we could then put the money back in and then move forward, is just as we would normally?
If I can speak to that first, if it were to happen on that time, and I know that's an example, but it wouldn't be effective. The person would be hired before the cut became effective and steps could be taken. But there is a possibility of fronting the money from the contingency. But I actually think I wrote it down, I can't find it, but I think it's Charter 708 maybe. Anyway, there's a provision that allows at the executive's request, the council to approve a loan from unencumbered funds to take care of something like this. And that can be done by resolution. Now that has to be, then what would happen would be there would be a bill to put this money back. It would come from that same pot of funds. That same unencumbered fund, the undesignated fund, which is where this money will go to when it comes out of the budget. So basically, you'd be borrowing from the same fund, which is eventually going to be back in the budget. There's also the possibility of doing it through a supplemental appropriation, but that is a bill, so you would have a possible lag in there. But we're not talking about months or anything to do that.
Let me try to. Go ahead, Josh.
I would say, Mr. Mitchell, and to be clear, so everyone's on the same page as far as separation of powers, the county council does have the ability to approve or deny certain employees that come forward to be appointed, correct?
It's absolutely. In fact, it's a obligation to.
And those separation of powers are for specific reasons, right? That wasn't just put in the last year or two.
Well, and that's not the separation of powers that Mr. Taylor was talking about. That's somewhat different. But in I think it was in 2016.
How is that different?
I believe it's not the same thing, Mr. Wynn. But in 2016, I believe it was, the general public had the right to vote on a referendum to approve a change to the charter. And that change in Section 315 of the charter was twofold. It added, it changed from 30 days to 45 days. Wait a minute. Here it is. Thank you very much. It says that this was what the ballot question was. To amend the county charter to extend the time for the council to act, to confirm or reject any appointment by the county executive of the director of administration, the head of a department in the executive branch, or a member of the board or commission from 30 days to 45 days from submission, and to require submission at a legislative session of the council. And that came about because of some issues that occurred before 2016. And that's what's happening again, is that the two names that we're dealing with were not submitted at a legislative session. So the council has never formally acted on them.
Let me, if I could, let me try to give a little bit of history here at the same time as we try to explain the council's position. The council agrees without question it's an unfortunate set of circumstances. We certainly do realize that without a doubt. One clarification is no, we are not eliminating the positions at all. They're not being eliminated. And third, I'd like to say we are not obstructionists. Again, we've stated before that this council has approved 34 submissions that have come before the council in a legislative session, including Mr. Bunky Luffman, who was one of the first ones that was submitted in legislative session and approved in legislative session. So the council is working under whatever circumstances are possible to work with the executive to get these appointments done and approved. Now, you can't take away the fact that the council may or may not decide to agree with the executive on some of the appointments that are made. That's what our responsibility is. That is our prerogative. The first appointment that came to us, or the first recommendation that came to us, was for the Deputy Director of Administration. It was done in a closed session, which is not a legislative session. And it was done in a closed session as a courtesy to the administration and as a courtesy to the applicant.
If I can interrupt you, it was also requested that it be a closed session by Mr. Luffman.
Per council
Thank you.
president's rules.
No, excuse me. You're out of order, Ms. Executive. You're out of order. Madam Executive, you're out of order. You're out of order. Thank you.
You've been out of order. I'd like to hear her, please. Yeah, you're hearing one side.
You're out of order. I'm sorry. You made your comments in public comment.
Would you like to
You're
come
out of
to the
order.
table
Excuse me,
and
James,
speak?
you're not running the meeting. Thank you. Okay?
Well, maybe we should change that.
Point being, and I'll say again, that as Mr. Mitchell said, that the closed session was requested of the council. So we held that. At no time has the county council or the president of the council ever gone to the executive or gone to Mr. Luffman and said, I know you've submitted this, but we're not going to put it on the table. We're not going to accept it. Never. So this was in closed session. So we held the closed session. Well, let's not lose sight of the issues. So we were meeting in closed session as a courtesy to the applicant, because you don't really want to publicly discuss a person's history or their shortcomings or their whatever there might be in public. So you do it in closed session. There's a reason for that. After meeting in closed session with Mr. Leitzel, the council very simply was not in favor of this appointment. We felt he was an excellent guy, a very nice guy. His background was exemplary in law enforcement, but we knew that what we were looking for the most part, was someone who could run the county, someone that recognized what it meant to run an airport or solid waste or roads or the Board of Education. There was no background whatsoever for any of those particular issues. It was specifically law enforcement. So the council felt this is not going to be in the best interest of the public. And that's our right as a body of 7 here. That is our right to make that decision. Well, no submission ever came back to the council in a legislative session. And I was kind of surprised. I'd mentioned to Mrs. Hurley at one point in time, I said, they're not advertising this job. I don't understand why they're not advertising it. Well, after a 45-day period of time, the next thing we know, it's been announced that Mr. Leitzel has been hired. And we're saying, well, you can't do that. Because as is clear, as Mr. Mitchell read, as I have in front of me here, Section 315, which requires a confirmation of appointments, again says, if the council fails to act to confirm or reject an appointment within 45 days of its submission to the county council at its legislative session by the county executive, the appointment shall stand approved. That was never done. There was never an appointment, there was never a submission issued this county council in a legislative session, never. So as far as the council is concerned, the rejection of that appointment stood and still stands. The second issue there was, but the individual is working for the county right now, and the taxpayers are paying for this. And this council does not feel as if this is a qualified individual, despite the fact he's a very nice individual. The second position involved a public works employee. This employee was appointed acting director for 90 days. No council approval is necessary. It's fine. Now, at the end of that 90-day period, there was a closed session in reference to this individual being appointed in the director's position, and the council did not want to move forward with that. We had our reasons, and believe me, we had our reasons. We cannot explain all of those reasons because they're personnel matters that we cannot share with the public when it's been discussed in the closed session. But we honestly and sincerely felt it was not the best choice. What happened was the executive did not respond to the council, and a submission was never put into legislative session, and yet the individual was appointed as an acting deputy director. Now, you have to understand something. The acting deputy director is a position that's not recognized in the county charter, is not recognized in the personnel manual, nor any other form of Wicomico County documentation. One branch of government, in my opinion, and I think in this council's opinion, one branch of government can't simply make up or create a position at their own discretion. The public doesn't want to see that. They'd rather see it done publicly in the light of day. You cannot create as many titles or positions that might suit your needs while ignoring public policy or public law. This individual is still being paid today by the taxpayers of Wicomico County for a position, acting deputy director, that does not exist in this county. So keep in mind, we're not trying to be argumentative. We did not feel this individual was the right person for this job. So again, here we are tonight. We're responding to what I would consider to be several unorthodox and very unacceptable measures undertaken by the administration.
John, you can say it as many times, it doesn't make it true.
These are measures that we felt were taken to circumvent the county charter, the county council, and which is actually the governing document of the county for the individuals that reside in Wicomico County, the citizens of Wicomico County. Continue, I would just simply say that what we're doing tonight, again, is simply a measure of exercising our obligation and our right. Decisions that we don't really like, but we feel as a body it is in the best interest of the public. It's a democratic process. You have an executive, legislative form of government. The county council as a body, no personal vendettas here. The county council as a body, a legislative body, determined that these two individuals were not going to be best suited for these positions that we felt were very important positions for Wicomico County and the citizens of Wicomico County. So we exercised our right and we simply said, no, we don't think it's going to work. Do us a favor. You can certainly come back, bring someone else in, however you might do it. Let's get this done the right way. Let's get it done the legal way, and we'll move forward. So I think that those inclinations of the council were very clear, not to move forward with the appointments whatsoever. But the appointments were made. The appointments weren't made, but the hiring process was followed through, what we would consider to be illegally, and the payments are being made, which we consider to be illegally. I don't think one individual, whatever they might want or what they might desire, I don't think they can supersede the governing body as a whole, nor the will and the laws of the public. Again, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that the council has approved 33 appointments formally requested by the administration. And these legal processes cannot be abandoned when it's just not convenient for one party or the other. So again, I'd say we need to continue on. It is unfortunate that we have to cut the funding. It will go into reserves, and at any point in time, the council can bring it back once the qualified people are in this position. But we had to take these extreme measures because public taxpayers' dollars are being spent to pay two individuals who this council considers to be working in this county without the proper authorization. That is it.
Mr. Council President, may I ask you a question?
I wish you could, but we can't take it from the floor, Andy. Thank you. Any other comments from council?
Yeah,
I just want.
Go ahead. No, go
I just
ahead.
want to say this to some folks there in the audience. I'm a person that believes in treating people the way I want to be treated. I think that I always say I'm spoiled by being on the city council.